upon sorrow.
Go ahead and cover all the way down through 30, if you will.
I sent him therefore the more carefully, that when ye see him again ye may rejoice, and that I may be the less sorrowful. Receive him therefore in the Lord with all gladness, and hold such in reputation, because for the work of Christ he was nigh unto death, not regarding his life, to supply your lack of service toward me.
Wow. Going back to this seriousness, whew, Jesus. Watch this. He said, I suppose it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother. Now look at these compassionate words. He says, my brother, my companion in labor,
yes,
and fellow soldier,
yes,
which means no matter how bad it got, life or death, he's in the foxhole with me.
He's right there.
But your messenger, and he that ministered to my wants. Epaphroditus was there with Paul. I mean, connected to him in ministry. For he longed after you all, and was full of heaviness, because that ye had heard that he had been sick. So what he was saying was Epaphroditus was worried about them, because he knew once they heard he was sick, they were going to be worried about him.
As well.
They were going to be sick and sorrowful, and it worried him.
That's
wow.
Right. That's
he says, for indeed he was sick nigh unto death, but God had mercy on him, and not on him only, but on me also, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow. So what he was saying is, he said, man, he was really sick.
He was.
I mean, sick to the point of him
death.
dying.
Yes.
Okay. But God had mercy on him.
Yes, he did.
Now, watch what he says here. He says, and not on him only. Paul saying God's mercy extended on him out of his sickness, but not only him, but me also, because guess what? That thing would have brought another level of sorrow to me. He says, not on him only, but on me also, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow. I'm already in prison.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of things happen. There's been so much going on. There's a heaviness.
Yes.
Saints of God, listen, if we read this right, we'll see that Paul, when we talk about depression, this brother experienced the kind of things that bring on depression.
That's right. A serious heaviness.
Yes. He carried the weight of being concerned about the churches. He carried the weight of being concerned about those who worked along with him, their state of affairs, because of the suffering they had to go through. They're putting their lives on the line.
That's right.
You know, these folks were literally putting their lives on the line. They're sacrificing everything to work for the ministry. And when we look at Epaphroditus, literally what he's showing us is he worked himself sick.
For Christ and for him.
He was just exhausted.
Yes.
Just wore out.
Physically.
Yes. And so he says, I sent him therefore the more carefully.
Yes. That
when you see him again, that you may rejoice, and that I may be the less sorrowful. So in other words, he said, okay, now, because you heard of it, and he's healthy now, I need to send him to you, so you can see him and be encouraged, and it brings back your joy. And you can rejoice over what God had done. And then my sorrow will be lifted as well.
Yes. And you see at the beginning, he says, I sent him therefore the more carefully. There again, he's making that statement about he's sending him, but not of his own accord, but in a subtle way making the statement that he's still being led by the Spirit, by the Lord. Carefully.
Wow. Receive him therefore in the Lord with all gladness, and hold such in reputation. I mean, he's saying, really, when he comes, remember his reputation.
Right.
Hold him in high esteem.
Honor him.
Because, watch this, because for the work of Christ. He was nigh unto death. Do you see that?
Right.
My goodness. Because of the work of Christ, he was nigh unto death, not regarding his life to supply your lack of service unto me. That brother was willing to work himself to death. Now, go ahead.
How
Go ahead.
many of us will put ourselves in that kind of service and not murmur or complain?
You know, it goes back to what we said earlier. You know, there was even a greater level of conviction to me um, looking at God's House of Revival.
Yeah.
You know, a ministry that was making that literally was hands on with people, regardless of their smell,
Yes.
their physical smell or their spiritual smell.
smell.
Whether there was an odor of stench of
Stench
sin all over them,
Yes.
or odor of stench of many days without bath, they just served them.
Served them.
Um, 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 got up, you know, cleaned chicken all night, cooked the meal, went and served the meal, and served the people. You know, I think we need to be a little bit more assertive about finding mission opportunities,
Yes.
because sometimes we need that shock treatment
That's right.
to help us focus on what's real that's going on. And we cry about our little problems as if they're mountainous, and they're some of that stuff is so insignificant and really doesn't matter, but we bellyache over simple stuff, and our attitudes. You know, you watch Christians when you go out and eat on a Sunday, and you talk to some of the servers, people who serve. You know, they're the most outrageous customers that there are. Won't tip well, bossy, very ugly and mean. You know, where am I this and what this, and you know, attitude just stinking. With the church clothes on, with Jesus pendants, and treating the folks who's serving them at a restaurant like literal animals. You know, and you know what? You know, the other ugly side of it is that those of us who see that need to learn how to rebuke them openly. We need to start rebuking that spirit of nastiness supposedly coming out of a fountain that's supposed to be spewing sweet water. Bitterness, you know, just nasty to service. And so, you know, we allow so many things to just go past and don't correct them.
We become passive.
Yes, and even in church, a lot of times we won't discipline.
Right.
We won't handle things that require discipline. We talk about, well, I need to pray about it, and some things are so clear in the Bible. Some things are so clear in the scriptures. You know, do I need to pray about praying? Should I pray about having to pray? Well, I need to pray. You know, if I hear I need to pray, do I need to say, well, I need to pray about whether I need to pray? No.
And you know, Jesus never said that. If it was a situation where open rebuke was necessary, he would do it. It was just the way he did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Look at Paul.
Yes.
Rebuke Peter.
Yes.
When he was eating the way, you know, how he acted different between the Gentiles and when the Jews showed up, the brethren.
Right.
And he rebuked him openly. You know, because he said he had also led Barnabas astray in that situation. You know, and we need prayer. The church need prayer.
Yes.
I mean, my God. And I'm not saying that, you know, I don't have my own faults. I have to acknowledge my faults and try to work on them. We have to try to acknowledge where we're wrong.
Where we are.
And feel bad about when we cross that line of sin. You know.
And shed tears.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're hurting people. We're sending a wrong message to people about Christ. That's why so many folks just don't want Christianity, because they see how the Christians are living.
That's right.
And, you know, all these other religions can just come in and take foothold because we act so contrary. We walk contrary to the vocation for which we've been called. And so we've got to do better. We got to do better. We got to be about the Father's business. And we really need to begin to minister to the folk. You know, ministry is about people.
It is.
And we really need to become more conscious of what plight people are in our environments and get busy about it. Mm-hmm. And you know, God has given us grace to get it right. Another day. He's given us to get it right. And so we thank God for you know, experiencing that ministry that kind of took us back to the Bible, if you will.
Back to the Bible.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was a back to the Bible experience.
Yes, it was.
You know?
Truly.
And when you looked at it superficially, you wouldn't know that. You know? But we thank God for that. You know what? We're out of time. We want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Equipping the Saints broadcast. God bless you and God keep you is our prayer.
We thank you for tuning in to Equipping the Saints broadcast. It is our prayer that you have received a greater level of understanding of the Word of God. We invite you to tune in each week from 10:30 to 11 a.m. If you'd like to write us, please do so at Equipping the Saints, P.O. Box 2273, Gray, Georgia 31032. Our phone number is 478-345-1959. Our email address is etsbroadcast@gmail.com. Have a blessed week.